How have you managed players in terms of their creativity, their egos, and making sure that that's in check? You know, they're able to.
Yeah. Look, no, look. That is our department, and what happens is we create systems, processes, and an environment where you're always accountable, where you're always being checked on 1%ers, where behavior is noticed, where how you apply yourself to something, how you complete something. So all those little things adding up, it's quite intense. It's quite a tight, the amount of times where I know the players have just wanted to either string me up or say something to me, but at the end of the day, all those things that you described, right? If they only come to the fore, and they're only flamboyant when they're permitted to be. And so when you come into a good training ethos, this is what we do here. And it's a bit like, what I love. I'm a big fan of Goggins, old David Goggins. And what I love about him, he's such an unprepared bugger. He's just that's the crazy bit about it. He goes out and does shit, and he's not even prepared for it. So above and beyond that, but he comes up with this really great thing, and I like to think about this when I look at my men, and we've used this on game days with some players before. And what I like to do is, so if we take someone like a just grab like a Ruben Garrick, right, and then when we're just moving around, that's Ruben. And when it's business time, that's Garrick. Game day, it's Garrick. After the game, when you want to recover and relax, it's Ruben. And he uses that as an example of something that he does, and it just really stuck with me after he said that. So the answer to your question is, when somebody comes in, like I said earlier in the talk, they're joining somewhere, and you've got to be really, really, really adamant about, you are here joining us. We're not here to learn, to get culture from you, my friend. You are here, you come here. This is how we do it. This is when we do it. This is why we do it. This is how often we do it, and you will do it. And even though that sounds regimented without much flexibility, there's a lot of flexibility in there, because when you have somebody inside, the only time you should be offering up suggestions, offering up change, is when you're doing the actual fucking thing first. Don't be going halfway in and then trying to ask me about why you shouldn't do the other half. That's not going to cut it. So everybody comes in, everybody joins, everybody does it, and then, like your Ruben Garricks and your DCEs, and the more you put in, the more right you get to offer and challenge. But if you're just mucking around at the top, and you're just dipping your feet and pretty much only doing what's asked, if you're that guy that only goes to where you have to go or what you're asked to do, you're never going to get a seat at the table. You don't get a fucking seat at the table, mate.
Yeah.
And that's
Do you
bottom
think
line.
those expectations, Donny, there, and making people go above and beyond and really live up to the culture that you're trying to breed at Manly, was made easier by having all those ex-clubmen around that had, bled for the club? You got your Randalls, Monaghan, Cleo, Matty Ballin, which we talked about, so obviously left now to Broncos.
Yeah.
But do you think that all those eyes on you, that expectation, knowing that the caliber of athlete that you're in the presence of is kind of makes these athletes
100%, 100%, and then you've got then you've got players on the outside who are still involved with the club. And here's the thing: when you look at them, they're champions. We used to do all our wrestling. I don't think they do it anymore, but we had a big dojo at the Academy of Sport. And up on the wall were all the flags, right back from 1950 with Bozo, when Bozo was playing, all the way through to the last one that we got in 2011. And I remember, standing there while we were working through these drills, and I just wasn't happy with the drills, And I said to them, let's get this done. We want to get this, and we're working around this. And it just wasn't clicking. So in the end, I just stopped them and I just said, hey, have a look up on the wall. Have a look. And they look up there, and there's two of those teams where some of the staff are still here. and one of the players, two of the players actually, Foster just come. But, you know, and I said to them, yeah, good enough for them. Good enough for them.
Yeah.
And that's all you have to say. And you know what? Did they get shitty? No, they smiled. They loved it. They sort of like, yeah, he's right. He's right. He's right. And off they went, did a lot better. So the answer to your question is having that type of influence, that fiber where winners, people who you could look at and know have felt like you feel, worked as hard as you're working. That brings a lot to a place.